Good day, folks, and welcome to another session of Useful Websites for Hams video series. And for this video installment, we're going to be looking at the website of www.hamuniverse.com. And let's get to that. We'll open up our browser, and we will put in that URL, hamuniverse.com. And we'll show you the site, a little bit of a tour. As with most of ham-related sites, it's ad-sponsored, as you can see on the right here. So when you're clicking around, just make sure you're clicking on information that you'd like to check. If you want to click on an ad, that's fine, but just remember, these are ad-supported sites, so there's plenty of ads to click on either by intent or by accident. Now, this site, Ham Universe, is a little bit different than a QRZ.com and some others that are actually set up to provide resources, but also to make some money. This site is purely a hobby site made by a gentleman who is, his name is Don Butler, N2QOJ, and he really created this site out of a love for the hobby and providing a place where a new ham or someone who's thinking of becoming a ham can actually go and get some basic information. So this is also a secret I need to share with you. When somebody asks me a question, Joe, what about batteries, and what do you know about the different kinds of batteries and stuff like that, I'll come to this website, and it's very basic information. I'll click here. Oh, here it is, about batteries on the left. And here's a very great, simple, straightforward discussion of how batteries work, the attributes of different batteries, like nickel cadmium, what's their pluses and minuses, nickel metal hydride, lithium ion, what's their little characteristics and nuances in terms of charging and shelf life and things like that. And it's not volumes of information. It's just 2 or 3 pages, but great stuff to get started, which leads me to my next point. This perfect information to answer your initial question as a new ham, but it's also a great place to launch from and speak to someone who's a bit more knowledgeable. Maybe you want to go and get a textbook or do a little bit further dive into the subject you're looking at the library or online or something. But this is where you can first come, and I call it like a pre-Elmer site. Some of you have heard that expression, Elmer. Elmer is used in ham radio as to describe someone who's got some experience and knowledge in ham radio that could be looked upon as a coach or a mentor, a go-to guy. We all have Elmers, I've been lucky enough to answer some questions for a few of you. I'm lucky enough to have a few resources locally here that I can go to, like a Jim Henderson, KF7E. Jim is one of my go-to guys as well. If I want to know something about HF, I go to KF7RYX, Dennis. So I've got some Elmers. You'll have some Elmers. Look at this site and think of it in that way. Hamuniverse.com, this is a site where you can come and you can get some light information, sort of like a pre-Elmer visit before you go and either talk to someone or get a deeper dive in some other format. Most of the information is resident on this website. If I look up emergency power, for example, that's also here at this website. It talks about generators, the need for it, how it's used, all kinds of stuff. And then I'm sure it gets into solar panels and voltage conditioners and so forth. On occasion, you might go to something here like electronics, where rather than Don having created his own, you click on it and it'll actually give you a list of basic topics, and for example, how radio works. And if I click on that, it actually leaves the website and goes to a very popular website, which is another way of learning where to go from information, called How Stuff Works. Let me show you a trick, and here's a very brief description of how radio works. Of course, you can spend another couple hours just looking at this website of how stuff works on all different things, how a faucet works, how an elevator works, whatever the case may be. Let me use the back button to go back and show you a trick. This is not a trick related to ham radio, but just simple browsing that might help you. If you notice, I have one tab open. When I opened up electronics, this specific area, it got rid of my hamuniverse.com website. I don't want to do that. There's a way to do that and just open up a new tab. I hold down the control key on the left of my keyboard. It could be on the right. I hold down my control key and I left click on how radio works. Now you notice what's happening at the top? Another tab is opening. It leaves this one alone. I can always come back and reference it, but it opened up another tab called How Stuff Works, and so on. So if I'm doing research for school, work, or a hobby, I can have all these things open and cut and paste from either any of these into a workbook or something. And just to give you an idea, looks like my internet's a bit slow today. I can just come up here and open a few more. Let me click on about batteries, how about antenna design, and maybe repeater basics. Now all of those tabs are opening here, right? Let me go to repeater basics. Oh, I'm sorry, that was antenna design. And there you go. Here's a new ham's guide to using ham radio repeaters. How does a repeater work? Why is it needed? What's the benefit of it? The different pieces. You may remember these terms from one of our first meetings. Table of the common tones that are used and so forth. Some etiquette information, how to actually start up a conversation, what you need to do to keep with the rules and so forth. So hopefully you got the impression here I wanted to get across here of the ham radio, hamuniverse.com website. A great way to get some elementary or beginner's information on various different topics. Where to go for that, which is hamuniverse.com, and hopefully it'll give you the general information and terms and other things you need to go do a deeper research or a discussion with an Elmer or a search at a library or search on the internet. And hopefully you've learned a little bit about a browser trick that I use for work and hobby all the time. Use that control key. It works just about anywhere where there's a hot link, including right here. I'll click on that and it opens up another tab. That's great. So that's this installment of useful websites for hams, and this one focused on hamuniverse.com. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or if you have any recommendations for other topics, just get in touch with me through jsammartino@gmail.com or visit qrz.com and look me up, N2QOJ, and find my email address there. Thanks a bunch.